What if having the biggest cockpit in the sector wasn't even the best part of this boat? This is the Solaris Power 70 long range, and it's the biggest, most ambitious boat that Solaris has ever built. It's got a garage big enough for a 4-meter tender, it'll cruise at 20 knots, and it's going up against some industry heavyweights, the Azimuth 68 Fly, the Fairline Squadron 68, and the Absolute Navetta 70. Here's the thing, Solaris has done something really different with the balcony, and it might change everything. But on this particular boat, there's a twist. Let me explain. I'm Jack Haines, you're watching YachtBuyer. Before we get started, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. You're not going to see these world premieres first if you don't, so give the button a click and please hit the bell icon while you're at it. That way, you'll never miss a thing. The Solaris flagship comes straight in as one of the best looking boats in its class. Just look at it. It's 21.2 meters in length, just shy of 6 meters wide, and with its IPS pods has a draft of 1.6 meters. In terms of displacement, it tips the scales at just shy of 50 tons. What about pricing? Well, the base price for the 70 long range is 3.6 million euros, but the boat you see here on the stand at Düsseldorf came in at just shy of 5 million euros, excluding VAT. We were given a partial price list, but the main cost options include the upgrade to the 1000 horsepower Volvo IPS1350s from the base 725s, which frankly would struggle to pull the skin off this particular rice pudding, Volvo's DPS system, over 200,000 euros in paint costs, and €250,000 for a pair of Seakeeper 10 stabilisers. This particular boat is also very highly customised, as we're about to find out. It's not just the biggest cockpit in the sector, it's one of the biggest, if not the biggest, flybridges in the class as well. You've all this open space right back here, and you might be thinking, well, what are you supposed to do with that? Well, it's designed for some freestanding sun lounges. It's well clear of the hardtops. If you want to sunbathe, this is where you want to be. And I suspect this might be a bit of a party area too, because look at the size of the speakers we've got down here at deck level. There's a shower up here as well, and some nice detailing. Cup holders, pop-up lights, all very nicely done. And then we move forward onto the full protection of this hardtop. It's quite a muted colour scheme, but these tables really jump out. You'll see the same downstairs. This is a beautiful piece of furniture, quite Riva-esque, isn't it? With the stainless steel in the middle, the gloss wood folds in half to make it a bit easier to move down into the seating area. You've got your handhold built in. Cup holders are always there in the middle, and it's height adjustable as well, so you can move it up and down if you need to. Overhead, the hardtop, there's two options here. You can have solar panels to help top up the domestic load, or you can have this sunroof. It's not a sunroof that slides all the way back, it's a vane system, so it just pops up. You don't get a huge aperture, but it won't rattle and flap around as much on the move, and when it's closed, it's nice and solid. Opposite, you've seen this big glass hatch. This is to protect the staircase down to the main deck, and the way they've worked that into the interior is quite interesting. We'll see that when we go downstairs in a moment, and that is just a one touch, and that glides closed to protect this staircase. Forward of that, big wet bar. Obviously, you've got a big table here. This is where guests are going to really enjoy dining on a nice day, and you can serve them up here. Induction cooking, big sink, there's a fridge and storage underneath as well. And then we come to the helm station. There's a bit of seating, sunbathing space forward of this, a nice wide bench so multiple people can sit here and enjoy the ride. It's a bit low, it's all totally fixed, there's a little bit of adjustment on the wheel. It'd be nice to have a bit more adjustment of the seat, but you know, it's comfortable enough. I can see the bow really easily from this seated position. You can only really sit, I mean you can stand, but the wheels a long way down as the throttles. When you sit down, everything falls to hand relatively easily. It's a pretty simple, clean dash arrangement, lots of this shiny plastic that everyone seems to use, but you've got things like having an induction charger for your phone. There's a control for the MFDs, twin MFDs here, so you don't always have to use the touchscreen. A nice panel of switches for the stuff you can use regularly. Bow thruster control, but it is an IPS boat, so you have your joystick as well. We'll talk more about engines performance downstairs, and on that note, let's go and have a look at the main deck. One of the key design decisions they made is to move the staircase inside. So it's not right forward, like you might expect an internal staircase to be. It's just inside the doors, but as well as having such floor space in this big cockpit, having the stairs in there means the staircase isn't gobbling up space here in the cockpit. So you have this nice split dining space underneath the overhang, and you've got some nice slouchy seating space just aft. You'll have spotted these units on either side. Over there is access down to the engine room and the crew space. We can look at all of that later on, don't worry. In this one, if you have the optional third station, the joystick and thruster are down there. It's a little bit awkward. If you're going stern to, as the skipper, you're just crouching down at a bit of an awkward angle. Now, you don't have to have either of these units if you just want more floor space, but if you still want the third station, it would be up here, and I think that's a better space for it. A bit higher, you can still see aft, and a bit less awkward than that one down there. Though it is worth pointing out, if you do have this unit, you get a sink out here, which is quite nice. Also, on both sides, dedicated C-bob storage. Everybody wants to see that these days. These pop open and the C-bobs are safely strapped in on both sides, which is very handy. Now this space, the benefit is it's totally separate. Dining there with a sunshade. The TV also drops down from that overhead, so you can watch it out there, spins around to face the saloon as well. But that means right back here, they don't have to worry about this being a dining space, so it's very slouchy, comfortable seating. You wouldn't want to eat here, but that doesn't really matter because you've got a dining table right there. There is also a canopy that pops out from above to put some shade here if you want it. Should we talk about the transom? What do you think of the aft end design of this boat? I think it's lovely. The way it sort of layers down from the flybridge down to the cockpit, and then the teak floods down here to the transom, the angle on the garage as well. It looks great, and it's very accessible as well. Nice wide passageways up into the cockpit, and there's a lot of functionality down here. This is a high-low bathing platform. It's actually fixed for this section, so this is always solid. And then this area you can see with the vents in it, that's what drops down into the water, and that makes part of the tender garage. So this little hatch here, the angled hatch, that lifts up. There's space in there for a 4-metre tender. The platform drops down. You can see you've got space for runners as well, and you can run the tender down out into the water. So everything is all nicely tucked away. Of course, you could keep another toy back here on the bathing platform if you wanted as well. And they've hidden all the bits back here. So you can see the passerelle, that pops out from the top step there. Underneath here, this step, shore power connection. And then on this side, I really, really like the use of wood back here. It's nice you're not being bombarded with GRP. Underneath here, washdown connection. There's a pull-out shower, and there's also a connection here to drop in a proper overhead shower. You can see, can't you, with the platform down, the tender out, this would become a really nice place where you're properly in touch with the water. Now, before we head inside and have a look at that interior, let's check out the foredeck. There were lots of familiar Solaris touch points on these side decks. Sadly, you don't get the lovely flared curvature that you have on the superstructure of some of the smaller boats, but things like the Solaris branded pop-up cleats, the fender sockets, there's no guardrails, the teak topping, the lovely curvature to the top sides. You immediately know that you're walking along the side deck of a Solaris, and it feels very safe as well, despite the fact you haven't got any guardrails. Good practical stuff here as well. There are storage voids on both sides. Not big enough for fenders really, but good for lines, and covers for this area would fit very nicely in there, and it all easy to access. Some nice detailing too with the pop-up lights. And of course, these foredeck areas have become really important living areas in their own right. Another great sunbathing space, fixed sunbathing here, so you don't have to mess around putting out sunbeds. That's always going to be there. This little seating area with a slot for the life raft underneath. And you can see this is just a drink space really with the small table, but I like how that mimics the table that we have up on the flybridge. And yeah, these are nice places to be. Obviously nice on anchor, but also when you're just drifting along at displacement speed, right at the front of the boat, a nice place to sit and take it all in. Now up here, obviously they want to make this a big living space, so you have these lovely comfortable cushions, but it does mean that you have to lift them all off to get to important things like the anchor. So this is fine when you're anchoring because it's a process anyway. When it's an emergency, if it's an emergency, getting to the anchor is a little bit of a faff, and then because it's on a pop-out system, you've got to wrestle with that as well. I know why they do it, because it looks fantastic having the anchor completely concealed, and Solaris are not the only brand that do this. Well, I do worry a little bit. In an emergency situation, you want to get the anchor down first, you've got to get it out of the cassette. That's the compromise you get if you want to have a hidden anchor. And they've also hidden the mooring gear. Again, it's nice that it's all tucked away, it looks very neat, but every time you come into moor, you're taking off cushions and lifting up hatches, and it's all in there. It's lovely. You've got your winch, you've got twin cleats, fair leads as well. It's just another part of the process that you have to do every time you want to access the mooring gear, but it does provide you with pretty valuable extra living space. And then it's all hidden away nicely. And you can enjoy the sun. They haven't forgotten cooling space. You'll notice speakers up here as well. As I said, party boat. But there is a little fridge tucked down here too, so you've always got a nice cold drink to hand. Let's head inside. Now, I mentioned there is a twist with this particular boat, and well, it's in here. When Solaris designed this model, the idea was to have as an option a balcony leading out of the saloon. No balconies back there like everyone else is doing. They put their balcony amidship, so it really opens up this interior to the outside. However, the first owner of this hull number 1 wanted a totally custom galley, so that's what they've done. Frustrating that they can't show the balcony, but it's a pretty good demonstration of how customizable this boat is for this sector. So what we have is this huge boffy galley. I mean, it is beautiful. Clearly the owner's passionate about cooking, certainly passionate about keeping things cold. Look at all the cooling space in here. We've got a huge fridge freezer at the back, oven down there, 2 big wine fridges, and then on this side 4 enormous cooling drawers. It's called the Long Range. It's a boat that is designed to be lived on board for long periods of time. You are not going to run out of fridge space with this particular design. And if you do have the more standard option where you have the galley aft, more seating here, and obviously the balcony, you've got a bit more seating space on this side, because clearly in this design the internal seating space is relatively limited, but this particular owner wants to spend all their time outside in that well-protected dining space out there. And there is some room to have a couple of chairs this side of the internal dining table if you want to. As I mentioned, you still get the drop-down windows, so you have got some natural breeze running through here. On a breezy day, that would potentially mean that you don't actually need to run the air conditioning inside here, though of course everything is air conditioned throughout this interior. So quite specific, this boat, for the owner's wishes, but actually quite a good demo of what Solaris are capable of compared to, say, Azimuth and Absolute. They're unlikely to be able to deliver the same level of customization, but then Solaris builds a lot fewer boats at this size. On the lower helm, we have this very stylish Bessonzoni helm seat, though it is a long way from the helm station itself. That said, it is a bit adjustable, but I could do with a footrest. If I'm going to be here for a while, I want to be able to sit up and rest my feet underneath the steering wheel there. It looks to me like there's space next to me for another chair if you do want to have a co-pilot. But because the design, standing here at the helm is actually really pretty comfortable. The view's very good, nice curved windscreen, the mullions aren't too thick, I can see back really easy. Of course, there is the third station, so you're not likely to be doing much manoeuvring down here. But longer passages, bad weather, this is where you'll be. And actually, even though there's not much adjustment, everything falls to hand nice and easy. The joystick's in a good position on the starboard side. If you want to stick your head out the window and manoeuvre from down here, you can do. But just having the side door makes it much easier for the skipper to get outside. And we should probably address the name, shouldn't we? The Long Range. Well, the clue is there. It's designed to cruise more slowly than the smaller boats in the range. Eco speed is around 12 knots for a range of 900 nautical miles. So you are getting really decent range at that speed. It's stabilised with Seakeepers, so they're not really coming to effect when the boat's moving along. That's more for when it's static. But they have faith in the dynamism of the hull that at that speed it should be nice and stable. But the nice thing is, with 2,000 horsepower in total, it'll top out at 25 knots, and you can cruise at 20 knots if you want to. So you're not always stuck at that 9-10 knot cruising speed. But yeah, pretty decent range. Let's head downstairs and check out the cabins. This particular boat has got 4 cabins and 3 bathrooms. There's an owner's cabin amidships behind me, a single cabin, a double here, a dayhead, and then you have an ensuite VIP right forward. Like upstairs, it's quite customizable, so I suggest if you want to see all the options, head to yachtbuyer.com. You can look at all the layouts, the photos, the data, and the pricing, and you can look at it in really close detail. But let's carry on with the tour, and we're going to start in this double. Nice double bed here. It is, of course, tucked in the corner, so the person on this side is going to have to clamber over the person on this side to get in and out in the middle of the night. There's quite a narrow passageway down here, but head heights are pretty good when you're walking down there to get into bed. Natural light is good, and they've incorporated quite a lot of storage. Shelving up there. There's a wardrobe behind me, and this is quite a clever use of space. There's no desk, but with the end of the bed and this pop-up, they've created a little desk, makeup station, workstation, whatever you want to call it, but that's really quite clever. And there's a TV mounted up there on the bulkhead as well. And moving forward, we come to the dayhead. That's a really good size, and that is the bathroom that double and the single cabin we're going to see later on. That's the one they'll be using at night. And then right forward, the VIP, Well, that has a totally private bathroom. Pretty familiar type of layout here for the VIP on a boat of this size. Good sized bed, space around it to get in and out of bed easily as well. A nice mix of having the whole windows because you haven't got an overhead hatch. So those strips of glass are important, and they open as well, so you can get some breeze running through here. And you'll notice the use of mirrors throughout this interior, bouncing light around as well. There's very subtle lighting, underlighting as well. It's very nice and has a nice vibe. And there's storage is good in here too. An even bigger wardrobe over on that side, a proper bureau in this cabin as well. And as I mentioned, it's got its private bathroom, which isn't much smaller than the day head really. Separate shower cubicle tucked in the corner there. The toilet is behind the door, and this is a very nice effect, isn't it? The backlit onyx, and you've got drawer storage underneath. I really like all of this bathroomware here, the taps, and when they've integrated the soap dispenser. It's very, very nicely done, and there's two more cabins if we head to midships. There are a couple of level changes as we head to midships. On the port side, we have the single cabin. This really is best suited to kids. It's okay up here, but it gets very narrow down towards that end. That said, storage is good. Big bedside table, double wardrobe, and they've got climate control in here as there is in every cabin. But you've also got a nice bit of window and some natural ventilation through the opening porthole. And then heading right to midships, we come to a much grander cabin, that being the owner's cabin. Full beam, excellent headroom throughout this lower deck, but especially good in here, and a totally flat floor, so it's very easy to move around. You've got a nice mix of a sofa over on this side, storage over there, and they've just got a bit more space to play with the furniture. So look at the size of the bureau and also the mirror. That is a lovely installation. There's a walk-in wardrobe there, which is a bit like a cloakroom in a nightclub with all those lights and mirrors. But the bathroom runs behind the bed, and you've noticed this paneling. You see it in the wardrobes, you see it in the doors, and this one aligns with the shower, which is a bit saucy, isn't it? Inside, said shower actually extends a long way across the beam. Obviously the walk-in wardrobe's the other side, but this is a nice big cubicle. No door either, which makes it feel even more spacious. Rain shower head above, and then this is similar to all the bathroom equipment we've seen throughout. It's really nicely done. Again, the sink, very similar to the VIP, just everything's a little bit bigger. And again, the mirror that mirrors the mirror we've got out there. So very luxurious space. Let's head to the engine room and crew accommodation. There are two permanent access points to the crew space and engine room. There's an engine room hatch down there on the starboard side of the cockpit, but there's this bigger hatch down to the crew space as well. Now this boat really is on the cusp of having to run with crew. Many owners will be comfortable running this themselves, but if you do want crew, there is the option, and this boat has it. At the bottom of the steps, you have a washer and dryer mounted down here. And then if you move across, you actually come into the crew space itself. There's a wardrobe here, a single berth with a TV mounted above, a separate shower cubicle, and the sink is out here in the cabin itself. There's no mess area, there's no place to sit down. It is literally just a sleeping space. But as I said, whether this boat would have regular crew or not is up for debate. And to get in the engine room, there's a hatch over there in the cockpit. Engine room access is a little bit tight, to be honest. It's quite a small hatch. It's a steep ladder, and then you've got to squeeze past the exhaust of the starboard engine to get down to here. And because of the intrusion from the tender garage and the seakeepers below, it's quite low to get between the two engines and over to the port side one. So yeah, a bit of clambering around to be done if you're working on the engines. That said, daily checks relatively easy because you've got your fuel filters here. It'd be nice to have clear bowls so you can actually see the state of the fuel by eye. I'm leaning on the generator. The two seakeepers that are optional and mounted between the engines. Pod access is pretty good, and actually you can drop down the aft end of the engine room a little bit more easily, but of course there's quite a lot within the deck there. So yeah, moving around is a little bit tricky. It's certainly not the best in class, but decent enough insulation when it comes to engineering. We love the Düsseldorf boat show, but one of the obvious restrictions is you cannot get a feel for how the boats work out at sea. So it's difficult to come to a definitive conclusion before we sea trial this, which we're hoping to do later on in the year, so do look out for that. But that is something that is a key part of the equation here, this long-range cruising capability. It's certainly got things like the cooling space and the storage and the living space for that type of thing. But does it work in a cruising patio like that? Hopefully we're going to find out. But what is nice is that they have done things differently. They are new to this sector. They're taking on some big brands, but they've given buyers a reason to look at this over other things in the sector. Let me know what you think of it in the comments below. thanks very much for watching that tour of the biggest Solaris ever. I hope you enjoyed it. Please give us a like if you did, and remember to subscribe if you haven't done so already. We've tested a lot of the Solaris range, so I'll put some more of our sea trials of the Solaris boats up here. Hope you enjoy those. Thanks again for watching. I'm Jack Haines. This is YachtBuyer.